Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Carla Valle-Clan, and today we'll have a webinar on the new electronic reporting system of the Basel Convention. The system has been launched recently in November, and it should be the platform for all parties to submit their national reports to the Secretariat from now on. Let us start by recalling the mandate of national reporting under the Convention. As per Article 13, Paragraph 3 of the Convention, parties shall transmit through the Secretariat to the Conference of the Parties, before the end of each calendar year, a report on the previous calendar year. For example, by the end of last year, the 31st of December 2013, the Secretariat should have received reports concerning activity in 2012, and in fact we did for some countries. The focal point to the Convention is the responsible authority to submit such a report. In 2002, so more than 10 years ago, the COP approved the format for reporting as it is used nowadays. And this consists of a report composed of two parts. Part 1, also known as Status of Information, contains mostly qualitative information, such as information on competent authority, focal points, definitions, restrictions, agreements, facilities, and so on. Part 2 is also known as Annual Reporting and contains tables with information on import, export, and generation of hazardous waste, as well as information on disposals that face issues and accidents that may have occurred. The new electronic reporting system of the Basel Convention will continue to use the same questionnaire for the time being, as it was approved by the COP. However, for the year 2012, the current year that we are now expecting more reports, a few changes have occurred in questions 2 and 3. These were approved by COP10 in Cartagena under the work of the Implementation and Compliance Committee. In the past, parties would send emails, faxes, and hard copies to the Secretariat with their national reports. Now parties can do their submissions themselves using the new electronic reporting system. The development of this tool was requested in different COP's decisions, including those related to the synergies processes. Therefore, the new system looks very similar to the electronic reporting system of the Stockholm Convention for the upcoming years, which is going to be released soon this year. So we are working on this nowadays, and they will look very similar to each other. For the time being, only the focal points to the Convention will have access to the electronic reporting system. We also call it ERS to facilitate our talking. Several reported years are available online from 2000 to 2012. And for countries which have already submitted their reports for the years before 2012, they can read the information submitted. For countries which have pending reports to be submitted, they should use the new system to do so. The system is accessible under the website of the Basel Convention under the topics Countries, National Reporting, Electronic Reporting System, as it's here on the slide. So our idea is to show you a little bit how the system works. I will show a couple of slides first with the main features, and then I will show the system live if everything goes okay. I just would like to use the opportunity here to, I think many of you are the focal point or work together with the focal point, that the deadline for 2012 was the end of last year. So we would appreciate very much if you could really send your reports the sooner the better. So here is a screenshot of the electronic reporting system page in the Basel Convention website. Just to let you know, the Secretariat is still working on this project, and this is just the first phase of it. Therefore, we would appreciate it if you could use the system, verify the data related to your country, and provide us with your feedback. For that, the focal point will need a username and a password to log into the system. And that password was provided via an official letter sent in November. So if you are from any country that had a change in focal point and you didn't receive the letter, please contact me so that we can fix that and then send you the coordinates to access the system. Here on the screen, you see that a few areas are highlighted in the presentation, but also in the web page. So we are highlighting here the template to be used for table 6 and 7. This is an Excel template that you have available for you in case you prefer to upload this to the electronic reporting system instead of entering the data manually. And we have a little set of quick instructions to help you realize and learn about the main features of the system and items that you should pay attention to. At the bottom of the page, you'll see the list to the different questionnaires. In 2012, the most recent one, but also the other ones. Here another screenshot on the basic concepts in the ERS. So we have here on the left side the buttons that bring you to the different items of the questionnaire. You have a toolbar at the top with the navigation button to allow you to go from one page to the next or back. Also, we have a button called Save All Changes to help you, to allow you actually to work in different occasions in the reporting system. So you should always save your changes so that when you come back in the next time, your changes are reflected in the system. We have also a button which allows to check for basic errors, and we have a feature to download your answers in a Word file document. We also have here, the biggest area of the screen is the main area to enter information. He is just showing an example of a country with some information already pre-filled, but basically you have to work entering data in this area. So sorry for the technical issues. We have an issue here quickly. We are just solving it, and we'll continue. So for the time being, I'll continue here as we are. Maybe I need to do a small pause again. Can you hear me? Yeah, okay. So as I was saying, we have here the different areas of the screen that you are going to work with. Additionally, I would like to say that the questionnaires are pre-filled with the most recent report received. Users can work on the questionnaire in different days and save their work accordingly, as I mentioned, save all the changes. And only when all is finished, all is entered in the system, the questionnaire is supposed to be submitted. So you can work with different authorities, maybe validate your answers with different people involved in the process. And then finally, on page 10, on item 10 of the questionnaire, table 10, you will see the submit button that allows you to submit. Here is a new feature, which is an important one to pay attention to. So this allows the focal points to request for changes in competent authorities and focal point details. The user will see the current details that the secretary has in its database, and the user can choose to request a change by choosing yes here to this question, and there is a similar question to the focal point in the bottom. And then the user can press edit for changing some details, or delete and or add a new competent authority. So if you choose yes, the system pops up this area of the screen for you, and you would be able then to edit it and change, adding new items, or changing the telephone number, changing minor things that you may have or major things that you may have. So the same situation applies to focal points and competent authorities. The difference is that for each party, only one focal point can be assigned, designated, while competent authorities can be multiple. Additionally, the users have the opportunity to add supporting documents signed by a duly authorized entity with the official request for a change in case this is needed. It's not shown here on the screen, but when we see it online, live, we will see the button, the option to update a file. Once you have submitted the report, the Secretariat will then validate the request, and if all is fine, we will make the changes on the specific databases of competent authorities and focal points. Another concept which is important to pay attention to is the yes/no questions. So these questions can trigger more questions, so please be attentive to them. Here on the screen, you just see one. You have sub-questions in questions 2, 3, and some other places. And I would like to call your attention to the fact that you should answer all of the questions to be considered a complete report. Even if you don't have data, maybe you have to specify that you don't have data. So we don't have data available for this item, or nothing is available at this point in time, or something relevant. But not leaving it blank, because blank for us, it's unknown. We don't know if blank is because there is no information available, or if you have forgotten to answer certain things. The system also does some basic quality control for us, for you, all of us. And some of these error messages are working fine. We realized through the parties that have submitted reports successfully in the last couple of weeks that there is a bug, there is a problem in the system about question 1. So if you're still about to send your reports, and if you see a message, even if everything is filled in, so don't worry about it, and submit it, even if that message about page 1, and we will work on that in parallel. Actually, we are working on that. So what I want to explain about this basic control feature is that the system contains some rules internally to make users aware that certain things are not properly filled in. Or if a question is left empty, the system indicates that to the users. Just one sec, please. Echo. So I'll try again. Is it okay? Okay. I was hearing some echo, and if it's too much, then it's difficult for you to understand what I'm saying. So what I was saying about this basic quality control is that the system contains some internal rules to help you see if you have left something empty or not properly filled in. And here on the screen, you can see a couple of these error messages. So these pink messages here, pages 2, 3, and 4, having complete or invalid answers. Please correct answers on those pages before you submit your form. But again, as I want to stress that you can always submit your report even if you have some error messages based on a feature in the system that is not working, or because you decided not to do so. So this is just to help, but it's not blocking anybody. It's just a warning feature. Here are some examples about tables. So we have several tables in the National Report of Basel. As you may know, the National Report Questionnaire has several tables which are supposed to be all filled in. And in the system, users are able to enter each single line manually or upload the document containing the information required. This is a little different for each different table, but here's an example of table 1, and I would say similar to this, you have tables 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 will work a little differently. I'll let you know a little later, but here's what I want to show on the screen is that you can either use this option to enter, in this case, for example, an agreement individually, or you can upload the document at the bottom of the screen containing the sought information, the information requested in this table. So tables 6 and 7, which are on import and export and import of hazardous waste and other waste, also have the same feature. You can add line by line individually, and for small countries, this might be enough. But for countries with a lot of movements, I think the feature that is mostly useful at the moment is this one of loading the selected file, the template, the Excel template, filled in with your details. And then the Secretariat will work on that offline in another time. We are working on this feature at the moment in the system, and we aim at having a more advanced possibility in the future, but it's still not ready, which will mean that you load your file and the system would read it automatically, but it's still not there. Here is the screen showing part of one of the tables, table 8A, on the total amounts of generation of hazardous waste and other waste. So in these sessions for tables 8A and 8B, users should enter data manually, value per value. So there is no option here for uploading. So you'd have to enter each of these cells here. There are not many, but at the moment, that's what we could offer. And these are time series tables. So users will be able also to enter data for any previous year if they have it available. Even if the report is for 2012, if you have some gaps from the previous year, you could decide to fill in these gaps. Finally, the most wished button, the submit button. So in the last page, in table 10, so you have to navigate either here or in your buttons at the toolbar to achieve table 10 screen. And there you will see the submit button. This should be pressed only when the whole questionnaire is completed. For the time being, this is the way it is. I had some parties saying that they didn't find a submit button, that they were a little confused that they had to go until the end. We can improve on that based on your feedback. So if you have an opinion about it, let me know, please. For the time being, that was the decision we had to exactly avoid mistakes on submitting too early the report. So just to finalize some details about the processes involved in this area. Currently, we have a small intersessional working group working on simplifying the reporting questionnaire. The final decision about it will be made in the COP in 2015. And the group has met already once and is going to meet again in a couple of weeks. They are trying to simplify the questionnaire and see if they could redraft some parts to make it more clear where some doubts were raised, and eliminate a few questions and maybe add new ones which are more relevant to the current moment where we are. Finally, I think it's important to highlight what can you do to improve the situation. So we would like to ask you, if you agree with us, of course, to spread the news with your colleagues about the new electronic reporting system, to work on standardizing data collection and methodologies in this area, because the quality of the data we get not necessarily is the best we could, as far as we think. And please do some quality control before submitting the report. So for the time being, you can download your answers in a Word document, which is not the best of the best options, but we are also working on that. But that's a feature that can help you. At least print your report, have a look at it before you submit to see if you didn't forget anything or if there is something you could improve. to make it more clear and so on. And whenever possible, please report on time and complete. So that's about the slides. You will receive the slides later on. So here is my emails, and you could contact me anytime that you have any questions or need some further clarification. I'll now show you the system. I'll need a few minutes because I have to connect again to the system. Just a moment, please. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Okay. It's just a second, still connecting to the system, and then I'll be able to explain. Okay, so I'll show you the system now, live, hopefully. So this is an interface. Please ignore the interface. In your case, you're going to use the other interface. I'll just quickly go through it just to remind you on where we are. So you would go then to countries on the Basel Convention website, on the national reporting, electronic reporting system. Then to connect to the system, you would need your username and password, which were sent to your focal point. And then you can come here and log into the system. I'm going to enter here as an administrator of the system, so please ignore what I'm going to do right now because it's just an interface than yours. You basically will see a page asking for your username and password. And then you see specifically your report for that year that you logged in. Taking a little long, but hopefully it will connect. So get one here ad hoc. So here is just showing you the system. You'll see something like that on your screen. And then calling back what we have said, here you can navigate the different items of the questionnaire from question 1 to question 7, from table 1 to table 10. You can click here. I'll click just so that you can see how it works. But the speed currently in the system is not really so good. But basically, I just wanted to show you what I just mentioned in the slides. So you can navigate using the buttons on the left, or you can navigate using the toolbar. For example, here I'm in a test environment just to show you that that would be 2002. The system is showing that these questions were pre-filled from the latest report from that country. In this case, was Albania. So the system is always looking at the latest that you had submitted and then reusing that to facilitate your life in the questions which don't vary a lot, which are questions 1 to 7, tables 1 to 5. Tables 6, 7, 8A, 8B, 9, and 10 are the annual report, are not pre-filled, exactly because this information should change from year to year. You have here this button, Save All Changes, and the button that I said, Check for Errors on this page. Just press here to see. In this page, there is no problem, so the system is not accusing anything that it could be. Quickly go into question 1, which is the one which has the bug, but also the one that is a little different from the rest. So I was saying that for competent authority and focal point, if you have a minor change, you can request a change here. So if I would press no, I'm not seeing the possibility to change it, but if I press yes, the system pops this error for me, which is the request to change information. Then what the system is doing, is copying what you already have and allowing you to edit it. In the case of competent authority, will also allow you to add a new one, because you can have multiple competent authority. You can also delete this one. And here, another feature that I mentioned in the slide, but it was not visible there, you can also upload and supporting documentation containing signatures or whatever you may need to complement your request to change. And the same applies for focal point. So if you click yes, you would see at the bottom of the page the possibility to manage this information. But since focal point, you can only have one. You don't have here, oh yeah, you have one. At the end of the day, the secretary will only validate your entry if you allow only one focal point to be here. So be careful about that. Let's see here, check for errors on this page. There is nothing, and you could eventually navigate. And go to. So pages 1, I think this message here, page 1 is the bug one that I mentioned. But page 2 seems to have all the incomplete or invalid answers. Therefore, you see this error message at the top. And probably this is true. So let's just go down quickly. Yeah, there are a few questions which don't have answers. So that's why the system is indicating those errors. What else I could highlight for you here? I have a request to have a remarks field here, which is not there yet on table 8B. So table 8B contains the breakdown of generation of hazardous waste and other waste by white code. So it's a long table. You don't have any remarks fields here. So we're going to add that in the future. But for the time being, for those who didn't report yet, if you have a need, you can either submit a complementary document attached to your report, or you can make a comment on table 8A, and I'll have a look at it. In table 8A, there is a remark field, so you could mention something there. Quickly show you here. We have this remarks field. Also in table 8A, you have a couple of other options. If you don't collect the data as the table is requesting, you may have collected data in a different way. And this is based on the report that we have received from countries. So some countries are not able to report on these 3 lines, but they are able to report on Y46 separately from Y47, or a total amount of hazardous waste generated according to their national definition, which is not allowing them to break down in these 3 lines. So we could as well report on that. And you can navigate here from side to side and then put the number as you may want. So I won't spend a lot of time here. I prefer to listen to you if you have questions. So just finally the last page, table 10, and the submission of forms. I would like just to call your attention to the fact, again, that you should not leave anything empty. If you have a question, you can call me or send an email, and I'll try to help you. If you have a technical problem, as some of you may have had already or are having, please let us know as well. We are trying to improve the system continuously. So thank you very much. And let me go close here.